And folks, I want to tell you something. Pete Peterson, and you know that I have a little concern that we're going to see our Social Security cut very shortly. Maybe it'll happen in the lame duck session. Maybe it'll happen under the Romney administration. Maybe it'll happen under the Obama administration. I think the dice are loaded, so to speak. And I very well may be the only person who talks about politics who's not getting money in some fashion from Pete Peterson. This guy, which is actually another good reason to become a member of the Majority Report, because I get news for you. If I get a phone call from Pete Peterson and he says, Sam, I'm sending over $1.5 million in an unmarked suitcase or something. I don't know. I guess all suitcases are more or less unmarked, but an unbranded suitcase. Because I don't want anything too flashy. No, I don't want $1.5 million worth of cash in some type of Gucci handbag. Because that's embarrassing. Send it over in some type of plain unbranded suitcase. If I get a call from Pete Peterson and he tells me he's going to do that, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to think long and hard about it, folks. And then the next day, I'm going to come out and I'm going to bring my daughter on the program. And she's going to say something like, I'm not going to have Social Security unless we cut it now to fund tax cuts for millionaires. So I'm just giving you fair warning. If you hear my daughter coming on the program and saying that, good chance Pete Peterson has gotten to me. But you can get to me first. Stave off that Pete Peterson money by becoming a member at majority.fm. There's other ways to support the show. You know that. But that is that's where we really need your help. Now, before you think, well, there's no chance of Pete Peterson doing that. Pete Peterson, according to a piece on the Huffington Post by Ryan Grimm and Paul Blumenthal, who incidentally is hosting a fiscal summit, I think he did yesterday, and it's probably a 2-day event. When you're a billionaire, you don't just do one day. Bill Clinton was there. Tim Geithner, his good buddy. John Bonaire was there. Tom Brokaw. Politico's John Harris. I mean, everybody seems to be getting money from Pete Peterson. And if it seems that way, it's because since 2007, between 2007 and 2011, and for those of you conservatives, let me spell this out. That's 4 years. Pete Peterson, personally, himself, contributed at least $458 million to the Pete Peterson Foundation, which is set up to convince you that our government is broke and Social Security must be cut. I'm going to repeat that. $458 million. Let's just call it $500 million, shall we? Over the course of 4 years to convince you that Social Security must be cut. And why? Because we are in a crisis right now. We're in a total crisis, an unprecedented crisis. There has never, ever been a time where we have had such a fiscal crisis. Never, ever, ever, ever. Though, to be fair, in 1994, Pete Peterson, 1994, said, we will no longer be able to afford a system that equates the last third or more of one's adult life with a publicly subsidized vacation. In other words, we got to cut Social Security as of 1994, he was saying. There are just some people who, ideologically speaking, hate the idea of old people who are getting 80% of their income, 40% of Americans, so retired Americans, get 80% of their income from Social Security. Now, you can do the math. I think the average Social Security payments annually is somewhere around $14,000. So you do the math. He really cannot stand the idea that there are old people living off of $18,000 a year. They're on a paid vacation. These people are going out and they're living the life. Meanwhile, this guy has $500 million. $500 million to spend to make sure that they're not living that way. To put Peterson's spending in context, writes Ryan Grimm, all corporations and unions combined spent less than $4 billion on lobbying in 2011. All corporations, unions, everybody spent less than $4 billion. It's just unbelievable. Pete Peterson formerly worked under the Nixon administration. He was the chair of the Federal Reserve of New York during the George W. Bush administration. At the summit Tuesday, Peterson told the audience that he sat on the committee that picked Tim Geithner to serve as the president of that bank, the Federal Reserve of New York. He's got Democrats and Republicans on the payroll. He has his own newspaper, the Fiscal Times. Peterson Foundation funds things like the Concord Coalition and the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget. He's putting out, his foundation is putting out a new curriculum for kids, for high school students, understanding fiscal responsibility. It was introduced at a ceremony featuring Peter Orszag, the former Obama administration official who left to join Citigroup. Of course he did. They're giving up to $2.4 million for the curriculum. The first two lessons are titled Social Security and the National Debt, Medicare and the National Debt. Not our nuclear arsenal and the national debt, not our massive military spending in the national debt, not our lowest taxes in the history of anybody practically alive now in our national debt, not capital gains at their lowest point ever in the national debt. No, the first one is called Social Security and the national debt. And the Peterson Foundation and MTVU, which is the college MTV network, have spent already $2 million to convince college students that Social Security won't be there for them, so it should be slashed now. So Pete Peterson, ladies and gentlemen, the billionaire who can't stand the idea that you might be living on $18,000 a year in your golden years. Unbelievable.